Ancestors, Badimo, Idlozi, callings, drums, beads, different types of cloths. I'm sure you're wondering, what is she talking about? Introducing to you a brand new series titled Ubizo, The Calling, on The Rise with myself, Adelaide Mothoa, on Downtown Radio, the heart of the city, the heart of the people.
Isangoma, inyanga, umprofeti, abantu benyama abaphila nabantu abamadlozi, abantu abeke baphila bashona. Basibiza ukugobela sikhulisa abantu iguli, sibabiza ngokuthi bayiziguli ngoba sizoba lapha bahlushwa umoya. So siyakhulisa la madlozi ukuthi siwabonise direction la ayifunayo wona azositshela yona.
I was on and off, a sick child, and then when I grew up, I didn't know what I have a calling until Kibali understanding why I used to faint before.
Ngike ngahlala phansi for 2 years ngakwazi ukuhamba. Ngithi mina ngeke ngala ngingafuni. Kodwa ukuvuma kwami, ukungena kwami ngamasango ala engithwase khona. Ngavuka kusasa ngiright ngenzwa kangalutho. So ngiyacabanga ukuthi kube angizange ngivume mhlambe ngabe ngahamba emhlabeni.
Akusukuthi umele uzugule uzuthathele umsebenzi lo. Kuya ngendlela abafika ngayo kuwe. Kodwa ekuguleni ukuthi uhluleke kumamela.
My family didn't choose who I could kill, but Badim Kibona. They connected Libadim Bababa.
I believe at the back of your minds, most of you are asking themselves, why Ubizo, The Calling? You know, why are we talking about such? Why are we talking about witchcraft? In particular, I was having a conversation with my mom this one time about her upbringing, you know, and she just mentioned how, you know, you can never trust a bantu. You can never say, I know someone. You know that Brenda Fassie song, Umuntu ngeke umconfirm. It's that. So my mom was telling me different types of stories, you know, when load shedding hits as well. Like, you don't have much to do except to just conversate amongst each other. And my mother was telling me that, you know, back in where she grew up, there were like stories almost every week that would arise of witches. And I'm like, you've seen a witch before? And she says, yes, I've seen a witch before. You know, I know the sounds they make. I know how they look like. Back at her herd, she knew like the meeting spots as well. So then I'm like, does witchcraft exist, Mama? She's like, witchcraft exists. And then I texted, I posted it on my WhatsApp status. I'm like, hi guys, is witchcraft a real thing? And the comments I got just came flooding in, you know. There's a particular voice note that stood out. So my friend was telling me that growing up, you know how when it's like Christmas time, you just gather all of like your cousins, you sleep on the sitting room and then everyone else in the bedrooms, right? So her and her sister at that time were sleeping in the sitting room with their grandmother, and she just woke up because she was hearing sounds and she saw this lady combing her hair in the kitchen. Mind you, the lights are off, but you know when the moon is bright, we call it ngwedi. Like yeah, it was very bright. You know, ngwedi she tagile mola aowa batho ba robedi, but then she wakes up and she sees this lady combing her hair, but the lady doesn't have legs. And then she wakes up her grandmother, like, Kuku, wake up, there's someone in the kitchen. So the grandmother was like a fearless woman. She just starts swearing at whoever that is, you know, starts swearing like, no, you're not supposed to be in my yard. And what the grandmother did, she took a bucket, added a handful of rough salt, added water, added jace flute. I'm not sure, we call it jace flute, others call it matubula. You know, added that, and then just mixed it all together and started sprinkling it in the kitchen and outside as well. So the grandmother, like I said, fearless, she went outside as well, you know, and then just splashed the water onto the roof. So with that, it's known to like chase witches away, or if you're trying to see wuti uba no tagatayo, you do that, and then apparently the next day or whenever the person will like reveal themselves to you. You know, it's a method I've seen my mom doing as well from time to time, especially if we're going to have like a very big ceremony. They do that. So my friend's grandmother did that, you know. And another story that she told me was how her mother used to have a garden and she sold vegetables. So she gave this granny onions. You know when you plant onions and then they come out with that thing that looks like a spring onion, that. So she gives the onions to the grandmother like, oh, kuku. You know, it's a thing back at home, like rafana man, we're just giving. She takes the grandmother takes the onions, but she doesn't cook them. She hangs them on the washing line, like she hangs them. Those onions apparently did not fall down for a year. An entire year. They got so dried up, but they did not fall. You know, my hair is even, you know, in my blood. I'm shivering as I tell you the story. The onions did not fall for an entire year. And mind you, these are stories that my friend is telling me. She's experienced them. She's seen them because, you know, they happened. They did not fall down. And after a year, her mother's business started crumbling. You know, people weren't buying anymore. Soil wasn't fertile anymore. She can't produce vegetables. And she always questioned, like, Mara, like, why like I get about feel why but she did that, you know, she put them there. The business came crumbling down. Then it said that when the grandmother died, when that lady that's when now the mother's business started automatically picking up, you know, like now the business is moving, it's booming. So I cringed for a moment, and the first thing that came into mind is bontši ba batho ba ileng goreng re tseba ele dingaka ba tlo botša goreng ke baloi, right? I grew up with that, like, don't trust the traditional healer because ba lawyer. But now I realize the importance and the significance of having this series so that traditional healers are able to come and explain this side of the story, to say, hey guys, look, witchcraft does exist. And I feel like there are other people who might be using their callings wrong. There are other people who use their callings right. So that is the main aim we're trying to achieve, you know, to get to understand the side of the story. But also, I feel like, I don't want to say it's a trend, but we've seen so many young people that have been going to initiation school, you know, by your twice at a very young age. One is probably still in matric or so, but they're already going there, you know. So these are questions that we have, like, at what age do you adhere to your calling? How do you know that you have a calling? You know, what distinguishes you from other traditional healers? You know, we're trying to get the journey as well as to what happens when we're taught, because also it is said that they do it differently. Others, they go underwater, and I'm more interested in that, like what happens underwater, because apparently there's a whole other life altogether underwater, you know, and they're able to survive. So these are things that we will be unpacking. So hence I say, if you have any questions, if you have any comments about ubuthakathi that you've seen, if you are a traditional healer yourself, or you know someone who practices and these are stories they share with you, please do share with us as well, so that we are also able to raise awareness on Ubizo.